What if I told you that everything you've been taught about making money, the hustle, the strategy, the 5 a.m. club, is actually a lie? A cultural story designed not to make you wealthy, but to keep you trapped in a cycle of effort and exhaustion. That the financial stress you feel isn't a sign of your failure, but a signal from your soul that you're on the verge of a massive breakthrough. As an author and speaker who has guided thousands, and as someone who personally went from 2 foreclosed homes, crippling addiction, and financial ruin to building a $40 million company, I'm gonna give you the exact framework that rewired my brain for wealth. This isn't motivation, this is the physics of abundance. This is about understanding the human operating system so you can reclaim control over your thoughts, emotions, and life. Today, we're going to dismantle the old programming by exploring the 12 energetic laws of financial creation. And we're going to start with the most fundamental law of all, the one that changes the entire game. Money is a mirror, not a goal. The story we tell ourselves, the one that keeps 99% of people stuck, is this idea that I need to get more money. This belief reframes money as an external object, a prize to be hunted and captured. We think if we can just acquire enough of it, our problems will vanish. We treat it like a destination. But this is a fundamental misunderstanding of how reality works. The truth is that money isn't a thing, it's feedback. It is a perfect, unflinching mirror reflecting your internal state of worthiness, trust, and alignment. Your financial reality is nothing more than a printout of your subconscious beliefs. If you feel unworthy on the inside, your bank account will reflect that. If you're vibrating with a frequency of scarcity and fear, your external world will organize itself to give you more experiences of scarcity and fear. There's a scientific basis for this. The brain contains a network of neurons called the reticular activating system, or the RAS. The RAS acts as a filter for the approximately 11 million bits of information your senses are taking in every single second. It can't possibly process all of it, so it only allows in what it deems important. And what it deems important is whatever matches your dominant beliefs. So if you hold the deep core belief that money's hard to make or opportunities are scarce, your brain will literally filter out and fail to perceive the opportunities, conversations, and ideas that are right in front of you. It makes your belief a self-fulfilling prophecy. And in my own life, for years, I chased money with a desperate, frantic energy. I literally thought it would solve my feelings of emptiness and fear that came from my limiting beliefs and my stories about money and my addiction. But because I was broke on the inside, spiritually and emotionally, my bank account just mirrored that inner state back to me. And the more I chased it, the faster it seemed to run away. It wasn't until I stopped trying to fix the reflection in the mirror and started working on the person casting the reflection that everything actually changed. So here's a simple integration practice for this law. For the next 24 hours, I want you to completely stop asking the question, how can I get more money? Instead, I want you to ask a much more powerful question. If my current financial situation is a perfect reflection of my beliefs, what is it trying to teach me about myself? And just sit with that question. Don't judge the answer, just listen. This is the first step to reclaiming your power. Now, law number 2, the second law is that your nervous system is your financial thermostat. Now, the story we tell ourselves is that if I just had more money, I would finally be safe and relaxed. We believe that a bigger bank account will magically soothe our anxiety. We treat financial security as a prerequisite for inner peace. But the powerful state truth is the exact opposite. You cannot attract and sustain a reality that your nervous system is not regulated to handle. Inner peace has to come first. If your nervous system has been conditioned for decades to live in the chemical state of stress, anxiety, and cortisol that comes with scarcity, it will perceive the calm and ease of abundance as unfamiliar. And to the brain, unfamiliar equals unsafe. So your subconscious mind will find clever ways to sabotage any new influx of wealth. Bad investments, reckless spending, or creating unnecessary drama just to return you to the familiar, even though it's painful, state of stress that it knows as normal. So you have to downregulate your nervous system first to expand your capacity to hold wealth. And the neuroscience here is undeniable. When you're in a state of financial stress, your body's flooded with cortisol and adrenaline. This activates the sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight response. And when this happens, blood flow is diverted away from the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain responsible for creativity, complex problem solving, and seeing new opportunities. And it's sent to your limbs to prepare you to run from a saber-toothed tiger. You cannot innovate your way to wealth when your brain is preparing for a physical threat. What I'm saying is you can't create abundance from a biological state of survival. And this is why calming your nervous system isn't a luxury, it's a non-negotiable financial strategy. It's about consciously shifting from a state of threat to a state of safety and creativity. And the integration practice is this. The very next time you feel that familiar pain of financial anxiety, your heart racing, your stomach tightening, I want you to stop. Don't spiral into the story. Instead, perform a physiological reset. Really simple. Take 3 deep, slow box breaths. You inhale for 4 seconds, you hold for 4 seconds, you exhale for 4 seconds, and you hold for 4 more. And you do this 3 times. And as you do this, you place a hand over your heart and you say out loud, I'm safe right now. In this moment, I have everything I need. This is not a denial of your circumstances. It is a conscious act of taking back control of your biology. And I know it may sound a little bit woo-woo or cheesy, but it will bring down your nervous system. You're literally telling your nervous system that there is no tiger, which allows your creative brain to come back online. Third law is a profound reframe. Desire is divine direction, not selfish greed. So the primal state lie is one that is deeply embedded in our culture, especially for those of us on a spiritual path. It's the belief that wanting a lot of money is greedy, it's materialistic, it's not spiritual. And we're taught to suppress our desires to be humble and to want less. And we associate big desires with ego. But the truth is that desire is the language of your soul. It is the voice of life or of God or of the universe, whatever you want to call it, revealing the next step in your personal and spiritual evolution. The desire for more money, more impact, more beauty, more joy is not a character flaw. It is a signal that your potential is looking to expand. Life, by its very nature, seeks fuller, richer expression, and it wants to express that potential through you. So your desire for $1 million isn't just about the money, it's about the expansion, the growth, the creativity, who you become, and the contribution that the stewardship of that resource would require of you. I spent so many years of my life believing my desires were wrong. I was taught that wanting more was a sign of being broken, so I suppressed them. And in doing so, I kept myself small and stuck. It was literally a form of self-sabotage or self-abandonment. And when I finally gave myself permission to want what I really wanted, not just for myself, but for the impact I could create, for the people I could help, for the vision that I could fund, it was like a dam broke. That was the linchpin that took me from broke to a wealthy life. The universe, which had been waiting patiently for me to get on board with its plan for me, literally rushed in to meet that clear, unapologetic desire. So here's a practice I recommend. I want you to take out a piece of paper and write down a desire so big that it feels a little scary or even selfish to admit. Maybe it's a specific income goal, a business you want to launch, a lifestyle you want to live, a change you want to see in the world. And now I want you to reframe it. Instead of I want to make $1 million, I want you to ask, what reality is $1 million inviting me to step into? Who must I become to create and steward that level of resource and impact? See, the desire not as a selfish get, but as a sacred assignment for your becoming. This brings us to the fourth law, which is that obsessing over the how is a distraction from focusing on the who. So the story we tell ourselves is that it really plagues every entrepreneur and creator, which is I need to figure out the perfect strategy. I need the step-by-step plan, the how, before I can start. And we get paralyzed by analysis, convinced that if we just had the right business model or marketing funnel, then success would be guaranteed. But the real truth is that obsessing over the how is a symptom of disbelief. It is your ego's desperate attempt to control a process that is fundamentally beyond its control. The universe, the quantum field, God, does not respond to your meticulously crafted 10-page business plan. It responds to your identity. It responds to the frequency you are broadcasting. And so when you shift who you're being at a core vibrational level, then the how reveals itself to you, often in ways you could never have predicted. The right people, the right ideas, the right opportunities, they're drawn to the new who that you've become. Now, I'm not suggesting that you won't take action or you won't look back and see the plan, but the plan is a byproduct of not trying to create a plan, but a transformation in identity. And from the perspective of quantum physics, you exist in a field of infinite potential, a wave of possibilities. You are collapsing that wave into a single particle-based material reality with the focus of your consciousness, which is dictated by your identity. By continuing to focus on your current identity, like I'm someone who is stuck and confused, you keep collapsing that same reality over and over and over again. A lot of people think that they don't create their reality because they have some new beliefs, but their reality doesn't change. But the truth is, we live in this sort of Groundhog Day type of repetition because we keep thinking the same thoughts and holding on to the same identity over and over and over again. Your reality is always changing, and the fastest way to change your reality is to change who's observing it. You have to change your self-concept. You have to decide who you are now And my own journey is a testament to this. I didn't have a plan to get out of financial ruin. I had no how. All I did was make a decision about who I was going to be. I decided I was a man of integrity. I decided I was a creator. I decided I was a leader. I decided I was abundant and prosperous by birthright. And I started being that person. And then the how began to unfold one step at a time. People always ask me, like, what was the secret to going from $0 to $40 million in your coaching business over a very short period of time? They want the tactic or the strategy, and the strategy is really a shift in identity. And so an integration practice for this law is to embody your future self now. So just identify one single quality of the wealthy, successful, fulfilled version of you that you want to become. In other words, imagine your goals were complete. How would you be? How would you be once everything that you've wanted to accomplish is done? Maybe it's confident. Maybe it's decisive. Maybe it's generous. And for the next 24 hours, I want you to make every single decision, from what you eat for breakfast to how you respond to an email, from the identity of that person. Don't ask, what would a confident person do? Ask, as a confident person, what am I doing now? Be them now. And you'll notice the shift. Now, the fifth law flows directly from the fourth. Wealth follows value, but value follows identity. And so the story that we tell ourselves is something like, I need to do more to be more valuable. I need to create more products, offer more services, post more content. And we get caught in the hustle, grind, growth at all costs paradigm, believing that our value is a direct function of our output. But the truth is that your work is a transmission of your frequency, not just your knowledge or your effort. And you can have the most strategically brilliant product in the world, but if you are transmitting an energetic frequency of self-doubt, neediness, or desperation, people will feel it on a subconscious level, and they will be repelled by you. You ever walk into a room and there's a creepy person and it's got a creepy vibe? Or you've got a friend with amazing energy and all of a sudden you meet up with them and now you feel that energy too? So the value you provide to the marketplace is a direct overflow of the identity you hold for yourself. When you become a person of immense inner worth, peace, and certainty, your creations, which are your products, your services, your art, they're automatically imbued with that high frequency value. So people aren't just buying what you sell, they're buying a piece of your energy. They're buying your certainty. And think about two coaches offering the exact same service. One has a ton of insecurity and anxiety about making the sale or even being able to deliver great coaching services. The other's grounded, present, operates from a deep knowing of their own worth and the transformative power of their work. Who are you going to hire? It's not about the words. It's about the energy. It's about the transmission. And so your integration practice is to shift your focus from preparation to transmission. Before your next sales call, your next client meeting, or your next creative session, I want you to take 5 minutes and just close your eyes, and instead of rehearsing your pitch or your points, I want you to do nothing but feel the feeling of the result you want to create. Feel the feeling of a deeply grateful client. Feel the feeling of a signed contract that feels expansive and joyful. Feel the feeling of a creative breakthrough flowing through you. Embody the frequency of the successful outcome first and transmit that energy, because then and only then do you take the action. The sixth energetic law is one that will feel deeply counterintuitive, but it's critical. You must love the bank account you have in order to get the bank account you want. And so the story we tell ourselves is, I hate my current financial situation. I'm disgusted by it. I'll finally be happy and grateful when I have more money. And so we live in a state of resistance to our present reality, believing that this resistance is what will actually motivate us to change. But the truth is, it's based on a fundamental law of the universe. What you resist persists. So when you pour the energy of frustration, hatred, disgust into your current reality, you're energetically anchoring yourself to it. You're feeding the very thing you want to escape. And so gratitude, on the other hand, is the frequency of non-resistance. It is the ultimate state of allowing. And when you can find genuine gratitude for where you are right now, you send a powerful signal to the field that says, thank you for this. I'm open and ready to receive more. One of the most powerful mantras that I adopted during my own financial transformation was this: to have a bank account I love, I must love the bank account I have. And this was a game changer. It forced me to stop fighting with the reality and start making peace with it. And it shifted me out of a state of lack and into a state of appreciation. And it was in that state of non-resistance that everything started to change for me. So your integration practice is simple, but not necessarily easy. Tonight before you go to bed, I want you to open your banking app, look at the number no matter what it is, and take a deep breath. And I want you to find one thing, just one thing, to be genuinely grateful for in relation to that number. Maybe it's, I'm grateful that I have enough to pay my internet bill, right? Which allows me to access information like this. Or I'm grateful for the lessons this financial situation is teaching me about resilience. Start there and make it genuine. Just one little thing. Make peace with the present, because it is the only place from which you can create a new future. Now, this brings us to the seventh law, and this may be the most important one we discuss. This is the master lie that underpins almost all financial suffering, and the law is this: the fear of not enough is the very scarcity you're trying to avoid. So the story is the hidden motivation behind most people's desire for money. I want more money so that I can feel financially secure, because deep down, I'm terrified that I don't have enough, or that I won't have enough in the future to be okay. And this is the misunderstanding that keeps so many good, hardworking people trapped. Because the truth is that life, or the universe, doesn't respond to your request to get out of fear. It responds to the frequency of the fear itself. So if your desire for wealth is fueled by the energy of, I'm afraid of not having enough, you're broadcasting the frequency of not enough into the quantum field, and the field, which is an impartial mirror, can only send you back more circumstances that match that frequency. But here's the deeper truth, the one that can set you free. The belief that you won't have enough is a phantom of the mind. It's literally a story. It is a virus of consciousness passed down from generation to generation of scarcity. And I want you to be radically honest with yourself. Look back over the entire course of your life. Was there ever a time when you truly did not have enough to survive? Now, you may have been uncomfortable, you may have been scared, but were your most basic needs for survival, some form of food, shelter, air, not met? Now, I've coached people who were homeless for a time, and even they, in their darkest moments, admitted that life still provided just enough for them to get by. So what we see is the fear isn't real. It's a hologram, a hallucination. And so your integration practice is to short circuit this fear mechanism with a new, more powerful decision. I want you to anchor yourself in this new belief. Repeat it to yourself until it sinks into your bones and literally becomes your new truth. And that truth is this: I have enough, I've always had enough, and I will always have enough. This decision starves the fear of its power, and it liberates your energy to create from a place of expansion and joy rather than a place of contraction and survival. Now, the eighth law is a hard truth for the high achievers and entrepreneurs listening. Strategy fails when your energy is misaligned. The primal state lie is the siren song of the self-help and business industries. This new marketing funnel, this new business strategy, this new investment plan is the answer to all my problems. And we search endlessly for the perfect external tactic, believing it holds the key to our success. But the truth is, one of my core teachings, strategy won't save you. You can have the most brilliant, sophisticated, and proven strategy in the world, but if you attempt to execute it from an energy of desperation, doubt, fear, or unworthiness, it's going to fail. Or at best, it's going to produce mediocre results that require immense effort to sustain them. The energy behind the action is what determines the result, not the action itself. The universe responds to your vibration, your emotions, your thoughts, not your to-do list. And I spent years of my life and tens of thousands of dollars that I didn't have on this lie. I bought the courses, I hired the consultants, I tried every newfangled strategy that promised to be the magic bullet, and nothing worked. Why? Because I was trying to put $1 million strategy on top of a $10 David, and the foundation was cracked. The operating system was corrupted with this virus of I'm not enough. And no software in the world can run on a broken operating system. So your integration practice for this law is to perform an energetic check-in before taking any significant financial or business action. Before you launch that product or send that proposal or make that investment, I want you to pause, close your eyes, and on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being a state of total fear and contraction and 10 being a state of absolute clarity and confidence, where are you? And be honest. Because if your energy is below an 8, your only job is to stop and do the inner work required to raise your state. Whether it's meditation, breathing, journaling, realigning with a new belief, do not, under any circumstance, take significant action from a misaligned state. It is a waste of time and a waste of energy. The ninth law challenges one of the most deeply ingrained beliefs about money. Resistance to spending is resistance to receiving. Now, the story we tell ourselves sounds something like, I need to hold on to every penny, save everything, and spend as little as possible. I must hoard my resources to be safe. And this comes from a deep-seated belief in limitation. Often we get this from our parents because they didn't understand the game of money either. But the truth is that money is called currency for a reason. It is meant to be current. It is an energy that is designed to flow. And when you hoard it out of fear, when you constrict every spending decision with anxiety, You're sending a loud and clear message to the universe. I don't trust that more is coming. I believe this is all there is. And so you're energetically pinching off the hose. You're constricting the very channel you want to receive more through. Now, conversely, investing in yourself, in your growth, in your health, in your joy, in your expansion, it's one of the most powerful signals you can send that you trust in abundance. It's an act of faith in your future self. When you joyfully and confidently invest in a coach, a program, a book, or even just a beautiful experience, that nourishes your soul. You are declaring to the universe, I am worthy of this, and I trust that more is coming. And this opens up the channel for more to flow in. Now, the rub here is being open and available with investing when you feel like things are tight. But if you're willing to work through that small gap, man, just watch as the dam breaks open. Now, your integration practice is to consciously practice expansive spending. That's why I'm giving it to you. So this week, I want you to find one small, joyful, or expansive thing you can spend money on without guilt. It doesn't have to be big. It could be buying a book that you've wanted, taking yourself out for a nice coffee, making a small donation to a cause you believe in. As you make the purchase, I want you to do it with a specific intention. So as you hand over the money or you click buy, say to yourself, there's always more where that came from. And I want you to feel the energy of flow and circulation, not the energy of scarcity and loss. The 10th law is crucial for managing your psychology on this journey. Your income is a lagging measure of your integration. The lie that we tell ourselves is really an impatient thought that sounds like, I did the mindset work for a week. I said the affirmations. I did David's integrations. Why am I not rich yet? We expect instant results. And when we don't see them, we conclude that the work isn't working and revert to our old patterns. But the truth is that your external reality always takes time to catch up to your new internal reality. So there's a time lag. The money in your bank account today is not a reflection of the inner work you're doing right now. It is the results of the beliefs, the thoughts, and the identity you were holding 30, 60, or 90 days ago. This is really important. The inner work you do today, the new beliefs you decide on, the new identity you embody, is planting the seeds for the harvest that you're going to reap in the future. Now, this is what I call the psycho-cybernetic loop. Your new beliefs lead to new thoughts. Those new thoughts create new feelings and emotions. Those new feelings drive new inspired actions. And those new actions over time produce different results. And crucially, these new results then provide evidence that reinforce your new beliefs, creating a powerful upward spiral of transformation. But this process requires repetition and patience and a little bit of time. Breakthroughs in a seminar don't change your life. It is the consistent daily integration of those breakthroughs that rewires your brain and re-engineers your reality. And so your practice is to create tangible proof of your progress before it shows up in your bank account. So get a simple glass jar and call it your win jar or integration jar. Every single day, every time you catch yourself making a new decision from your new identity instead of your old one, write it on a small slip of paper, drop it in the jar. Choose trust over fear today, drop it in the jar. Invested in myself without guilt, drop it in the jar. Regulated my nervous system instead of panicking, drop it in the jar. Watching the jar fill up provides you with the undeniable physical proof that you are changing and that the work is working long before the financial results manifest. The 11th law goes to the very root of our financial struggles. Healing your past is the fastest way to fund your future. Now, the lie is that my money problems are about my job, the economy, my lack of skills, or my bad strategy. And we look for external causes and external solutions. But the truth is, the blocks to your income, the blocks to your impact, and the clarity that you're looking for are almost always unhealed emotional imprints from your past. So your most stubborn and painful beliefs about money were likely not even created by you. They were inherited. They were programmed into your subconscious mind in childhood as you observed your family's struggles, their arguments, their stress, and their limiting beliefs about what was possible. You're not just dealing with your own financial stuff, you're often carrying the weight of generational scarcity patterns. That's okay, this can be changed. The most profound financial work you can do has nothing to do with a spreadsheet. It has to do with healing the part of you that felt unworthy, unsafe, or abandoned as a child. And when you heal that inner child, you allow the adult version of you to finally feel worthy and safe enough to receive and hold significant wealth. So healing is the gateway to abundance. And this is deep work. But here's a simple integration practice to begin. Ask yourself this question: what is the very first memory I have of feeling anxious, ashamed, or scared about money? And don't force it. Just allow a memory to surface. Maybe you remember your parents fighting about bills. Maybe you remember being told no for something you desperately wanted. Maybe you go back to that memory in your mind's eye. You see the younger version of you in that scene. And this time, don't try to change the event. Simply be present with that child and see them, acknowledge their fear or their pain, give them the compassion, love, and sense of safety that they didn't receive in that moment, and tell them you're safe, you're loved, it's not your fault. This is the beginning of reparenting yourself and healing the root of your financial blocks. Now, we've arrived at the 12th and final law. This is the capstone. This is the final boss of financial creation. Certainty is a choice, not a condition. So what we tell ourselves is that I will feel certain when I see the evidence. I'll believe it when I see the money in the bank. And we make our inner state of certainty conditional upon our external circumstances. But the truth is that you must do the exact opposite. You must choose certainty first in the complete absence of evidence. And this is what I call developing the certainty of the goodness of the future. It is an energetic framework, a conscious decision to replace anxiety about the unknown with an absolute unshakable trust in your desired outcome. You decide, as an act of will, that your goal is not just possible, but inevitable. And you begin to live, think, feel, and act from that place of inevitability before you have any logical reason to do so. And this is what it means to create from the fourth dimension. You are no longer trying to manipulate the particles of your third dimensional reality from within it. You're stepping outside of it into the realm of frequency and consciousness and choosing a new reality from a higher plane of existence. You're collapsing the timeline by embodying the frequency of the future you desire in the present moment. And so your practice here is the ultimate act of faith. I want you to write your primary financial goal on a piece of paper, a clear, specific goal. Below it, I want you to write these words: this or something better is now on its way to me. It is done. Place this paper somewhere you will see it every morning and every night. And your job is not to figure out how to make it happen. Your job is not to struggle or strive. Your job is to hold that frequency, hold that vision, and hold that container. You are to hold the inevitability and to feel the feeling of it already being true. That's the work. So your financial reality stems from who you are, not what you do. And the wealthy version of you already exists, obscured by limiting beliefs and fears. True wealth comes from within, through shedding resistance and allowing abundance. I want to thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you found this information helpful, you should check out this video about how to identify and eliminate your money limiting beliefs and how to develop prosperity consciousness and an abundance mindset. And I will see you there.